everyone to my channel. It's Wisdom Technology. So today we are just using HTML CSS and JavaScript to create a form like this. So what does this form really do? It's very simple. So for instance, let's see how it works. So I'm gonna type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So as I'm typing, it's signifying the strength of my password. So the more I type, it's changing, and finally it's 100. So this is it. Then we have this small icon here. Let me see what I can zoom it a little bit. Desktop mode. So we have this. So when I click on it, okay, it's kind of big. So when I click on it, it's open, and when I click on it, it closes. Then that means it's used for hiding and showing the password. So for instance, if I write my password and I click on it, it shows me the password. Let me remove it from this desktop mode. Okay, so I click on it, it shows me the password. I click on it and it hides the password. So that is it. That is how this works. So um, 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 so this is what we are going to be doing in this project, creating a password form like this one here. So we're gonna get started. So I have created a folder, and which I'm about to open. So it's on workspace. So name of the folder is password handle. So that's the name of the folder. So it has the HTML, the style.css, and the main.js. All files are in one folder. Then this is just a setup of a HTML page with the CSS tag link and the JavaScript tag link. So we're gonna start writing our code. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a container that is going to be holding the the form, the password form. So that's what we're gonna do. We are going to create a container that will be holding the password form. So we'll write div, then give it a class. Sorry, Control Z. So div, then I'm gonna give it a class, and I'm going to call it input con. That's what I'm going to call it, which stands for input container. Then I'm going to hit enter. Then after hitting enter, then I'm going to, inside the container we have two things inside. If you remember, we have the one that is for the password, where you type in the password and where you click and show and hide, and we have the other one that is measuring the strength. So we are going to create input group and password strength. So the input group, I'm still going to create another div. So I have two divs there. One, I'm going to give it a class of input, input G group. Then the second one, I'm going to give it a class of pass G. Let me call it password G. So input group and password group. So inside the input group, I'm going to put the input element. So I'm going to create an input for password. So we're gonna give a placeholder to tell the user that, hey boy, it is a password that you need to put here. So so I'll just say enter your password. Sorry. So then after that, remember that we have where you click on, where you toggle to hide and show your password. So I'm still going to create that. So I'm going to use a span div, and I'm going to give it a class name of toggle. A class name of toggle. That is for the icon that we are going to be hiding and showing. So due to the fact that it's on password, so I'm going to choose one of the emojis because we don't have time to go look for icons in font or some. So I'm going to use this emoji. So I'll be using this monkey. So that's what I'm going to be using. This monkey that is closing its eyes. Then the next one is I'm going to create a span. Then I'm going to give it a class of ripple. That is the white thing under the icon. So now I'm going over to the, I think that is all we need there. Yeah, so I'm going over to the strength part where the strength is measured. So this is what is holding our strength. So the first thing we need to do is we need a strength bar, then a strength label. So the first one, I'm going to say that let me see, strength bar, strength bar, then inside it I'm going to create a span there. So I'm going to remove this bar, here. So that is okay. Now the next thing we're gonna do is the span inside this strength bar is what's the green thing that is moving or the blue thing that is moving inside. So That's what we are changing. So now the next thing is we are going to create another span. That span is going to be the one that will be holding our label. So I'm going to come inside there and say span, and I give it a class, then I can call it s label. So now that is it for the HTML. So I don't think we need any other thing again. So if we go and look how it is, go and run it, and want to see how it looks like. Okay, so this is how what we have as an output. So this is just a normal structure. So we are going to style it, make it look more nice. Already at this like this is nice, but we need to add more effect and something make it looks nice. So now that we have done this, now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to start with okay, let's start with the body. No, let's start with everything. So let's start with everything. So starting with everything, the only thing we are going to apply for everything is putting them in a size so that they will not escape their distance. So you'll see box sizing. So if um, an element is in another element, the limit it has is between the borders. So we're gonna put it in border box. So that is the styling we are going to apply to everything. Now the next styling is for the body. So we're going to give it a margin of 0 to remove the default margin. Then we'll give it a font family. Font family so for the font family we can put anything there just to have a font. Okay, so the next thing is height. So our height is for the body, it should be 100 vertical height. Why making it 100 vertical height? So that if we are centralizing our container, it will not be somewhere at the center on top. It will come to the center of the screen, not on top of your screen. So that is why we need to give it a height. So background you can give it, let us use a hexagonal. So we say as 0091920. That is the background color we can give it. Then we want the color of anything that should be there to be white. So the hexagonal, this thing color for white is simply FFF. So that is white color for the text, whatever is going to display. Then display, we are going to give it a grid. Grid is used to arrange items. So is this new thing we have in CSS, which is place content center. So we are going to place content we're going to place our content center. It just introduce it. Well, it has been long, like, but kind of new. So without putting justify content center and align item center, another way of centralizing it is using display grid and place content center, and boom, you see whatever you have on this thing will come to the center of the screen. So let us run that and see how it looks like. So you can see our this thing is at the center of our screen. So this is what we are looking for. We're looking for something like this. Now the next thing we're gonna do is in our input container. So in our input container, we are going to give it a width of 300 pixels. So we are giving it a width of 300 pixels. So this input con is I'm referring to I'm referring to this guy over here, this input con that we have here. So that's what I'm referring to. So we are going to give it a width. That is the only thing it needs. So that is for this thing. Then the next one is the input G. That is the input group, this thing itself. So input G. Now for the input G, sorry. For the input G, we are going to say the position should be relative. That is, want it to be related to the container. That means where it is now. So it should be the same place, everything. Then want it to be display flex, so everything will be arranged vertically. So we are going to display, then we're going to set it to flex. Then we are going to align whatever we have center, align item center. So I'm referring to this input G here. Where is that guy? So the input group that is holding our password and toggle and ripple. So the input G is the one holding those three things. So the inputs and the two spans, toggle and ripple, are inside the input G. So we are aligning them to be in a straight line. Then we want everything to be centered. So that's what we are doing. So that is for the input G. Then the next thing is we want to refer to the input in particular. So I'll come to our input G. So just put input G, then, and let me refer to the input itself. So what am I going to do with that input? The first thing I need to do, I'm going to give it a padding, my space inside of this thing. So the padding is going to be 15 pixels space at the top, then at the right hand side 3 rem, so there will be enough space. Let me remove this dot here. There will be enough space at the right hand side, then 15 pixels at the bottom, then 15 pixels at the left hand side of uh, our form. So there is more space at the right hand side. That space at the right hand side is where the monkey and whatever is going to stay, so that's why we give it enough space. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to give it a width. Now we are going to set the width to 100%. Why we are setting it to 100%? Because the position is already relative. The position is relative, so if the position is relative and is 100% at the right hand side of our page, therefore when you set any child element to 100%, is going to be positioned at that place, like it's going to take the full width of the parent element. So if the parent is 300, it's 100% to be full width of 300. It's going to take the whole space. So that's what it means. Then the background. So we're gonna give it a background that is a way more lighter than the body background. So we're gonna say we're still gonna use hexagon. So hash 112 D37, yeah, D37. So let me see how it looks like. Okay, so this is how it looks like, but we have an issue here. There is an outline and a border there that we need to get rid of. So I don't want the outline and the border there, so I'm going to come to this, click enter, say, and I'll put border, the border radius, I think so. Okay, sorry, the outline should be none. That is what I want to do, because I said I wanted to remove the outline. So the outline should be none. Then the border radius should be 4 pixels. Then the color, I mean, want the color of our text to be white. I'm tired of using that hexagon now. So it's gonna have a transition. That means in case an animation want to happen, so we're going to have a transition. The transition is going to be the width of that this thing. Then we're going to give it 0.9 seconds. Then we're gonna set the height. I'm gonna set the height to maybe 0.9. Okay. Then I'm gonna set font size. So I'm gonna set font size to be 16 pixels. So that is that. So that's for the form. Now we want to change something on the placeholder. So We don't know how the text of the placeholder might look like, but let's view it. Let's see how it looks like. So if you notice here, it's kind of dark. It's kind of dark. I cannot really see through it. I cannot see this thing. Let me try increasing now. Okay, so it's kind of dark. So let me check input G, because yeah, input G, then input. Okay, let me come back to my CSS. Okay, now the next thing is dot input G, then the input, then I'm going to refer to the placeholder. So the placeholder, that's what I wanted to refer to. So the placeholder, I'm gonna give it a color. I'm gonna give it a color of, make it more lighter. Okay, 3, 4, 6, E, then 8, 0. So I think this should be a way more lighter than. Oh, there is a mistake there, so let me correct that. So I expect this to be light. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to impute this thing. Whenever this thing focus on the page, what should happen? Well, I think I need to get rid of this border because I don't like the border. So border, I'll set it to none because it make it look kind of weird. So now, so I'll be kind of fast. So we have the input G, so on my input, when I focus on it, on focus, what is gonna happen when I focus on it? Something should happen. So that is why you see I put that transition there. So I'm gonna say border, then 1 pixels, then solid, then I want something for the color for the border. So then box shadow, I want it to be 0 pixels, then 2 pixels, that one not even show anything. I'm not sure it's gonna show anything because this two is kind of tiny, but okay. Then we have 5 5. I think I'm supposed to use P7 DD instead of the other one I used. So let me come here. Instead of using 6, I may use B. So let's run and see how it looks like. So so you can see that just like what we have in Bootstrap. So that is okay. So the next thing we're gonna do is we have .input G, and I want to work with our toggle. So I'll say .toggle. So that's the next thing we're gonna be editing. So we're gonna say position. Position should be absolute. Position should be absolute. I want it to move to the right hand side, but not really at the right hand side. So I'm gonna say 10 pixels from the right. Then I'm gonna say font size. I think that monkey that is closing his eyes is a font, kind of font. To 5 pixels. Then cursor. The cursor, I want it to be a pointer. Then user select. That means I don't want anybody to make selection to that. When you hold it for a long time, there's a probability to get selected, so I don't want any selection. Then the next thing is Z index. So Z index, just put anything. Okay, so the next thing is our repo. So I think I'm gonna copy this, come here, change this, sorry, I'll change this toggle to repo. Now the repo, I'm gonna say background. I want to give it a background of white. Then a display of block. Then a position, to position it absolute. Then a height, of 35 pixels, and width to the same thing, 35 pixels. So that when I apply border radius, the shape won't look kind of annoying. So border radius, I'm gonna give it 50% to be a full cycle. Then right, I want the right to be 10%. right to be 10%. Then transition, I want to give it everything, both background, anything that comes its way should be animated. So for 2 seconds, that 2 seconds look kind of slow to me. Let me make it 8, because it looks okay. Let me make it 2 so that it will look like a ripple. So the next one is Z index. So I'm gonna make it, I think 1 is okay, because I say -1, you go to the back of the form. Did I just write to index? Okay, so let's see how it looks like. Okay, yeah, so I think that guy has disappeared. So let me take it to 5. Oh, have I given it a background? Yeah, background color is white. Okay, well, don't worry, guy's gonna come out. When it's time, it's going to come out. So the mistake is from this place where I put percent, so it really went to the distance. So let me see. White ripple. Let me look how I spell it, because most times we do have issue with spelling. Ripple. Then there's no dot at the back of this, so that's where the mistake is from. So I expect that to appear now. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. So I think I need to move that monkey too, so I need to make it 15. Kind of moving. Let me say 12. Okay, I think this is okay now. This should be okay. Now the next thing we are going to be working on is our strength, the password strength. So we're gonna say dot password I've forgotten how I call it there, so let me go and check it. So password bar, I mean, or strength bar, that's what I call it. Strength bar, strength bar. So a strength bar, I think the spelling should be correct. Strength bar, yeah. So I'm gonna deal firstly with I think there's some error here I need to correct. So um we have password G, then we have the strength bar. So let me come here and put password G. So the strength bar, for the strength bar I am going to display its flex. Display flex. So after displaying flex, I'm gonna align item center. So I'm gonna give it a margin top. A margin top of 3 pixels. Then I think that's for the bar. Then I'm going to access this span inside so that I'll be able to um, access it. But the first thing I need to do is not even the bar I need to. So let me get rid of this. It's just the main this thing. So now to I want to work on the other part of it, which is the strength label. So the strength label, I think I call it S label. Let me confirm. Yeah, S label. So for the S label, I'm gonna give it a font size of 12 pixels, and imagine left of 10 pixels. So the next thing is the percentage itself. So what did I call it? Strength bar. So let me just copy this. So I'm gonna give it a flex of 1 and a height of 15 pixels, and a radius border radius of 10 pixels. Then I want it to take the full size of the container. So display block should be a block element. Then that means I want individual elements to be blocked. That means it's just gonna be like I'm setting the flex to a kind of column. So that is how it's gonna look like. So background, so I'm gonna give it a background of eh, eh, eh. So let's see how it looks like. Okay, so look at where it is being positioned, and we don't want it there. So I come to that strength bar. Oh, I not close this. This for this. This for this. This will be for this. So let's see. Yeah, good. It looks nice here. So the next thing is we are going to control our span. So our span, we don't have anything to do with this span, but actually let us just put add this dot span. Sorry, it's strength. I think the strength bar. Then I'll call the span element. Now what I want to happen is to be display. I want it to display block. I haven't display block. The next thing I want is the height to be the full width of the container, which is the strength bar. So I'm gonna set it to 100, or the full height I mean. Then the transition at which I want it to happen is all everything 0.4 seconds. Let me make it 5 or 6, 7, so that I'll see the animation very well. So I don't like fast this thing. It looks kind of actually it's good, but I like seeing the animation, so that so that is for the this thing. Now we are going to create other stuff which we are going to use later on in JavaScript, but we are not using it here. So it's just what is going to happen to the this thing, the span. So when it is weak, we want the background color to be red. We want the background color to be red. Then the width should be something around that 20%. Like my battery, I think it's always 16%. When the battery is weak, give you warning. So you close it here. Then when it is average, So for average, the background color should be kind of, let me add this hexagonal color, FFD00. So that is for the average. Then I want the width. I want the width to be around that 40%. That is for the background. There's no mistake anyway. Okay. So the next one is sorry. I think I make mistake for the color. I need to add another 0 because giving me errors. So the next one is when it is good. Then I want the background color to be light blue. Then width should be around that 80. Then finally, when the battery is full or when the strength is good enough, strong, let me call it strong. When it is strong, I want the width to be 100%, and I want the color to be light green. So this is this for this. So when you run it, it looks like this, still the way it is, nothing changes. See, nothing changes, still the way it is. But if you want to check for the good and all those things, this we are using later on. We are going to be using JavaScript to be adding those on the span. So for instance, come to the span, give space, then I gave a class of week. Then if you run it, you see what's gonna happen. So you can see that. So if I give for good, you can see that. And if I give for average, so let's see, you can see that. Then if I go for strong, something happened. strong. Yeah, what's happening? Strong. Oh, I went to go and set color. It's background, not color. Background. So, and that is it. So stay tuned for the next one, which is coming. That's purely JavaScript. So this is just for the HTML and CSS. So the next one I'm gonna do is for JavaScript, purely JavaScript. So stay tuned to continue. Please don't forget to subscribe and smash the like button.